In addition, of course, the service of faith, as we Jesuits see it, can never be one separate category, but in fact is a dimension, must be a dimension of everything that we do. Consequently, it's my responsibility to work with the other secretariats of the society, with education, with social justice, with ecology, to be sure that working through the conferences and the conference presidents and following a principle of subsidiarity in the society, that we encourage the society everywhere to be sure that in a coherent and effective way, the dimension of faith remains the animating force that underlies all of our apostolates, even if it's an apostolate of education or of social service in an area that is not Christian, or if it's in an area that's post-Christian, or if it's in an area where faith is still taken for granted. It's our responsibility with our collaborators to develop a deep sense of how any work that the society does is grounded in our foundational understanding of reality and of our own mission that we draw from the spiritual exercises, and that increasingly Jesuits have been aware we need to share with our collaborators. So, working with the other secretariats, we're trying very hard to find ways to encourage and to, in some places, to fortify the consciousness that whatever we're doing needs to be consciously and in a way that's appropriate, explicitly grounded in our religious convictions, in our following of Christ. This obviously needs to be done in a way that is respectful and dialogical with cultures that don't accept Christ, that don't see meaning in Him, or who find their meaning in another religious tradition. Nonetheless, our job is always to be clear about who we are and to share that graciously, hospitably, humbly with those with whom and for whom we work. My responsibilities also include paying special attention to the sector of the society that we would call pastoral ministries or spiritual ministries. Just as, for example, Pachi Alvarez has the responsibility to pay special attention to the sector of social justice, though social justice infuses all of our work, and as faith and the service of faith infuses all of our work, we do have certain ministries which are marked by an explicit focus on the service of faith. For example, chaplaincies, parishes, retreat houses, adult education. Father General wants us to be sure that we are doing everything we can through the conferences and through conference organizations and through assistancies to make sure that those Jesuits and our collaborators who are committed to these ministries are doing it in a way which is reflective, well-planned, carefully evaluated, and responsive to the contemporary needs that we're facing. A phrase that Father General has often used with us is that why is it that all too often the society and the church are presenting answers to questions people don't have? So in our pastoral ministries, we need to be very attentive to see that we are listening, that we are attentive to the struggles that people have, to the desires that are emerging from their hearts, and from the practical exigencies of the cultural and social situations in which they live. All of this impacts how they will hear and what they need to hear from the proclamation of the good news that comes from Christ and is passed on through our ecclesial tradition from the Church. Always again with us through the view of Ignatian spirituality.